Hi, today we're going to start a project to make our own instruments at home using recycled materials and other things that you might already have in the house. So we're going to do our best to try to recreate a drum. So something that you can hit on the top and that's round. Something that can make a shaking sound with some objects inside. And something that can make a scraping sound similar to these sticks or these sand blocks, because I realized that you probably don't have most of these instruments at your house, but we can get creative and see what we can do to make some things. So I'm going to show you the supplies that I found around my house, and then hopefully you can go on a bit of a scavenger hunt and find some things too. So to make a container that can make a shaking sound, kind of like a maraca, I found some old medication containers that could have some things inside, some tin cans. This is kind of tin and cardboard, some paper or toilet paper rolls. And then for things inside, found some poppy seeds, some rice, some barley, and some chickpeas. And I think when you experiment with different objects inside and shaking them, you'll notice they all make a different sound. So we've each selected a different container to put our beads or rice or chickpeas or whatever inside to see the different sounds that they make. So I have a cardboard toilet paper roll and I just taped the bottom so it doesn't fall out. Josh has a metal can and Jesslyn has a plastic bottle here. Okay? And then we've got different pieces to put inside. So we finished putting the pieces inside for each of our shakers. So I have some chickpeas and some rice, and I got a sound that I like. Just closed off the ends with some duct tape. What's in yours? I think you had barley.
Barley,
and poppy seeds.
Poppy seeds.
Okay. And we noticed he needed the smaller, lighter pieces in there because it was metal, and using the hard chickpeas is really, really loud, which isn't conducive to when you have parents working from home. So we made a softer sound. And Jesslyn, what's in yours?
Poppy seeds.
As well. But you'll notice, because this is metal and this is plastic, they have slightly different sounds, a different timbre, you could say. So now we're going to have fun making them artistic. So we'll see what they look like when we are done that next stage of the project. To make something with a scraping sound, I did find some sandpaper, but if you don't have that, I found the lid from a takeout container or just a plastic container that had something in it. This, I think, had some rice crackers. And an old chocolate box. Has some texture to it.
This is our scraping instrument. So
we first found a canister that was had some tea in it.
Here.
And to make it a little stronger and easier to hold, we glued a plastic cup on the inside. Then the next step was
some sandpaper.
Used a glue gun. We put some sandpaper on the outside. Then we cut off part of this cracker container and put that on the top. Can you try that one again? And then we cut part of this chocolate holder from a box and tape that on. And it ended up being pretty cool because now you have 3 different scraping sounds that you can make if you're playing some percussion.
You can put your hand in there to hold it and get a better grip.
So show us the 3 sounds one more time. All right.
And the cool thing about the sandpaper is you can actually write something. I drew a heart.
To make a drum, I've got lots of different sizes of containers and different materials here, such as this old cocoa can. It's metal on the bottom, cardboard on the side, plastic on the top. This is cardboard, so it kind of has a different sound. And then a bunch of old plastic containers from Costco. So they're pretty big. This one's a nice big tall one. It's a flatter one. We found an old bucket, even an old box, which is pretty big and sturdy. And then to stretch across the head of the drum, we're gonna experiment with either some plastic wrap or cutting up an old canvas that we don't need anymore, or even a reusable plastic bag. We're gonna try cutting that and seeing if we can get it tight enough. And then for adhesive, we've got some glue, some Mod Podge, a glue gun, and some duct tape. So for the next stages of making our drums, we've got two different projects that we started on here. First one is a drum box. We found a pretty strong box, and then we glued a bunch of things on the inside to reinforce it, hoping that we can actually sit on the box. And then to make a nice smooth top, I cut up an old canvas that we didn't need anymore and covered the top, glued it around. Now we are ready to paper mache. So we're going to fill up a bucket with some flour and water paste and rip up a whole bunch of paper and see if we can cover the whole thing so that once it's dry, we can make it look really beautiful. And Jessalyn, tell us about yours.
So I decided that I'd use two boxes. So I glue gun them together, and then I cut up a bag and I glued the bag onto here so it's soft on the top.
And nice and smooth too, easy to clean.
And then I put plastic wrap around it so it would be better for paper mache. And this blue band was to help it stay up and be strong.
So we put an elastic band around the two containers once they were glued to kind of make them a little bit tighter. Then we glued the top of the drum head on. And then the plastic is trying to make it more connected, and we'll see if the paper mache will stick to that. Only time will tell.
And this is what it sounds like.
Sounds like a drum to me. Okay. So our next stage is going to take a little longer. We're going to get all the rest of our supplies out, and then we have to let it dry when we're done, and we'll take a look at that once we're there. So we finished our paper mache yesterday and it's still drying, but this is how it looks right now. It's starting to come together. So I'm guessing it's going to take a couple days before we can make it artistic.